happy celebrations, or rather happy Eid al-Mubarak to our Muslim viewers. But everyone is enjoying the holiday, so happy holiday, everyone. It's a beautiful day, a good day to be at home and rest and just watch television. But we will help you do some business even while at home. That's why we're here on Business Morning on Channels Television. You welcome, I'm Ini John Mekwa. Well, we'll start from oil prices. It's edged higher on Wednesday after industry data showed a larger than expected drawdown of U.S. inventories, signaling robust demand from the world's biggest oil consumer, but the gains were limited by worries over interest rate hikes. Brent's crude futures rose 34 cents to $72.60 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 26 cents to $67.96 a barrel. Both contracts had fallen by about 2.5% in the previous session, on signals that central banks may not be done with interest rate hikes. Brent's 6-month spread, a price structure in which sooner loading contracts trade above later loading ones, was at its lowest in 6 months. But the 2-month spread was in the opposite price position called contango. Crude stocks fell by about 2.4 million barrels in the week ended June the 23rd. That's according to market sources citing data from industry group American Petroleum Institute. And they had expected a draw of about 1.76 million barrels. U.S. government data on stockpiles is due later on today. Gasoline inventories fell by about 2.9 million barrels compared with estimates for a draw of 126,000. On the demand side, European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde has said that stubbornly high inflation will require the bank to avoid declaring an end to rate hikes. Higher interest rates can weigh on economic activity and oil demand. A rise in U.S. consumer confidence in June also led to market concerns that the Federal Reserve would likely have to continue raising interest rates. Analysts say that markets have struggled to shake off fears that high interest rates will weigh on global growth and oil demand. Separately, Russia's energy ministry has said that it sees no shortage of gasoline in the domestic market, with companies having cut exports and increased production after gradually completing planned maintenance work. Diesel fuel production at the end of June was 2% higher than in the same period last year, and stocks at a historic high. In China, annual profits at industrial firms extended a double-digit decline in the first 5 months as softening demand squeezed margins, reinforcing hopes of more policy support to bolster a stuttering post-COVID economic recovery. Now to the grains. Chicago corn lost more ground today, while soybeans slid for a second session as forecasts of rain in some of the parched growing regions in the United States weighed on prices. Wheat dropped to a 1-week low on easing worries about Russian supplies. Weather models are calling for additional precipitation for dry areas of the U.S. Midwest and parts of the United States wheat-growing areas. A senior commodity analyst with Features International made this observation. The most active corn contracts on the Chicago Board of Trade fell 0.1% to $5.60 for half a bushel. That's not far from the previous session's lowest since May the 22nd at $5.55 a bushel. Soybeans fell 0.3% to $12.91 a bushel, and wheat gave up 0.1% to $6.98 for half a bushel after dropping earlier in the session to $6.90 for a quarter of a bushel, the weakest since June the 20th. Forecasts for rain in the United States grain belts later this week and next week tempered concerns about dry weather that has stressed crops this month. Was Eid al-Mubarak without a Ram celebration? Well, our correspondent Victoria back in Abuja went to the Ram market to see some of the changes and difference in prices especially that has taken place between last year and this year.
This is the popular Jabi Motor Park in the nation's capital. Once a beehive of commuters, is witnessing a low turnout of passengers, a situation that is a far cry from the previous year. Some of the drivers say the low turnout may not be unconnected with the current economic situation in the country.
When they don't increase fuel, there's no gain on transport again. All our money go on fuel.
The past one is better than this one. God, the fuel now, you buy fuel of a liter. I only buy fuel from here to Niger State, 20 liter. I could do about 3,000 plus. Now it's 10,800.
The recent removal of petrol subsidy by the federal government has caused a rise in the cost of transportation, and these travelers are bearing the brunt.
It used to be two.
We are in the Eid season, and there are certain elements that are integral parts of the celebration. We are now at the Apple Ram Market to find out the situation of things here. It's a very busy day at this Ram Market in the Apple area of Abuja. Over 10,000 rams have been brought in from Kano, Jigawa and Zamfara states, as well as the Niger Republic. This time last year, a ram sold for between 70 to 100,000 naira, depending on the size. However, this year, the list cost of a ram is as high as 120,000 naira, and this has been blamed on the cost of transportation. It costs at least 6,000 naira to transport one ram to Abuja, compared to the cost of 3,000 naira last year. The price of feed for the ram has also increased. A bag of groundnut leaf now sells for 7,000 naira compared to last year when it sold at 6,500 naira. And a bag of corn husk now sells for 8,000 naira as against 5,500 naira last year. Abubakar Lawan is a ram dealer in this market, and he tells us more about the situation.
This way the biggest one. I have 3 here, and I'm selling them at the rate of 750. That's the biggest one. Then this one 650. Then the other one 550. The other ones, this one I can sell it for 400. You know the cost of transportation. We are bringing it from Zamfara. This one I even bought it from Niger Republic. So you know this for a subsidy of 18. The transport before 10,000 naira they will charge you per cow, but now what they are charging, this one I pay almost 20,000 naira for the transport and myself.
Other ram dealers blame the low patronage and increase in price on the cost of transportation and the country's economic situation.
120, 110 last year. So this year, you don't have the money because everything don't charge. Every day for it now, you don't have the money. Last year, we carry ram 3,000. From my Adwa Megatari Gujungu. Now, we carry 7, 5, 10,000.
It's not a pleasant experience for the buyers. The prices have dug a big hole in their pockets.
People are finding it very difficult for purchasing the ram.
The same place I bought ram 65,000 naira. It's terrible. In fact, it's annoying that a country where we have all these stocks, we are finding it difficult to cope. To the extent that you can't buy goods, you can't buy ram for anything. Now, the ram we are seeing here, we have that of 120. That's the last I can see here. 450. 450 is enough to buy at least Sienna salad, as we used to know before. Now, I don't know where common man will start from.
The story is the same when we visited the food items market. There's no sign of celebration. The expression of this man is no different for this lady. Other Nigerians are still adjusting to the hard times occasioned by the recent government policies.
Price of almost everything has changed, and it's really affecting everybody, the rich, the not so rich, the poor. And you can see the mood of the market. The market is, you can't even tell Salah is tomorrow, unlike before. That means the buying power of people has really reduced. So I think really the government should try speedily, the speed with which they remove the subsidy. They should use the same speed to meet us halfway.
There's no doubt that many Nigerians are bearing the brunt of the aftermath of the fuel subsidy removal. even as they hope that the decisions of the government will put Africa's largest economy back on track. Victoria Longchon, Channels Television News.
Well, I wonder what you're celebrating with, a ram, a goat, chicken? How much did you buy it? But anyway, yesterday was World Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Day, and we had the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, announcing that the federal government is committed to facilitate swift access to single-digit loans for Nigeria's small businesses. Now that's something to look forward to. The Vice President disclosed this in a statement issued by the Director of Information, Office of the Vice President, Olushola Abiola. That, of course, was yesterday. The Vice President recognized that the MSMEs are drivers of economic growth, job creation, and innovation. One-digit interest rate is something very interesting, and a lot of businesses and business owners look forward to it. But how can it happen? Well, let's have joining us for this conversation Mr. Emmanuel Ijewere, the Chief Executive Officer of Best Foods Global Limited. Mr. Ijewere, happy holidays to you.
Same to you, my dear.
Do you have ram in your house? I might stop by after work.
Well, yes, that's right. But, oh, yeah, there are two actually. But I'm not giving you the address. We do it online.
That's not fair. Anyway, so we're hearing a promise now that we might get a single-digit loan. How possible is that in the reality of today in Nigeria?
That has always been the promise of successive governments. But the issue of buying and selling of money is demand and supply. As it stands today, with the MRRI that we already have, I don't see how that would be possible, because the money you are going to give out as loan has to come up from somewhere. And what is the cost of that money? So the first step has been taken on the exchange rate. Now we should now move on to the interest rates. Allow the economy to flow. Nigeria's economy is robust enough, but government interference at various areas and selfish interests not being caught is responsible. I doubt very much whether it is practicable to come to single-digit rates, given the fact that there's a lot of attempts to encourage foreign investments into Nigeria. If you bring the interest rate too low, it creates a situation where it will discourage the foreign investments coming into the country. But if it's structured in a manner that all parties are on the same page and demand and supply is allowed to work, Nigeria's economy is robust enough to encourage people to come. All those other existential situations that we have in the country, the issues of the insecurity, the issues of unreliability of government policy, and so on and so forth, if they are put in place and the foreign investor comes in saying to itself, I know what the government is going to do, therefore I can entrust my money to this country. That's where it comes from. The various depositors in Nigeria themselves, the Nigeria's economy must be looked at from this position. You are either rich or you are poor. If you are poor, you just have no say in the economy. If you are rich, you determine whether the money you have, the big money you have, which is disproportionate to your own share, you take it abroad, or you put it somewhere, or you invest it in business. So for you to be able to do that, give these same people the confidence that if you have a pot of money, you would be interested in Nigeria. And I assure everybody, Nigeria's economy is one of the best in the world to invest in. So the fear that people have must be allayed. Then the economy will run on the basis of demand and supply.
So you mentioned a couple of things there. You talked about government interference. Of course, we do know in every economy, government can hardly leave the economy to run on its own. And then the other side is you can hardly have a perfect equilibrium, in any economy at all. So what do you mean by government interference, and what will be an acceptable government interference?
First and foremost, develop confidence in people. Let people believe that you will do what you say you will do. Avoid somersaulting policies. Once you have given the people your direction, follow that direction and stay with the people. Keep on discussing with them. Open it out. There's too much opaqueness. There's too much secrecy in Nigeria's policy formulation. So we need to now get those. So what I'm actually driving at is that let's start from the current position today. Government interference does not mean that government should not be involved in the economy. Of course they should be involved in the economy, but on the basis of mutual respect of the people and the government. Government must not see power as a source of energy, as a source of doing what they like. They must see the people as the source of their power. As of today, government officials don't see the people as the source of their powers, but see themselves as the source of their own powers. So government interference means that avoid a situation where you create fear in your partners. See investors in Nigeria as your partners. You are not there to be the policeman or the soldier or the whip-carrying man in the economy. You are as a partner of the people. So government needs to change its own psyche in terms of who are we? Are we for ourselves or for the people? What do the people want? How do we collectively work towards this? This has been the situation. Now we are having a change in the governance of Nigeria. Let us now start thinking, changing our mindset. The private sector will move when they see the government moving in the right direction.
Now, you also talked about, of course, the issue of interest rates, and you painted the two scenarios. If the interest rate becomes too low, it discourages some activities in the economy. If it's high, there are other activities. We just read in oil prices, some of the movers, the expectation that even in the US, in Europe, they will continue hiking interest rate. How do we find a balance? While the vice president might be promising a single digit, we know that's almost impossible at this time. But how do we find a balance to accelerate economic activities with the interest rate and yet not discourage foreign investors?
First, the foreign investors are important, but you also have local investors as well. There's a lot of money in this country that goes out that don't need to go out. If they have the confidence to invest in the Nigerian economy, and they need to be convinced by the government that this economy is a good, solid, and resilient one. And that is true. The Nigerian economy is very robust. But the biggest fear, like I said, is the fear of government's own attitude. There are so many people in government who should not be there. All they think about is, what do I get? There's too much what do I get in governance. Government has to psychologically say to itself, what will the country get? The interest rate can come down. It will not be as dramatic as it is in Europe and the United States, where there are many single digits. Look at when they go and up their interest rate, is 0.5%. Hardly do you have even 1%. What do we get in Nigeria? What do we have in Nigeria? What's the level? Let's just bring it down. For people to further understand what I'm driving at. All those countries, nobody in those countries actually goes out to go and buy a house with cash. In Nigeria, where are the mortgage institutions where those countries rely on? We don't have mortgage institutions. We're either rich to be able to buy a 50 million naira house, a 100 million naira house, or you go and pay rent to landlord in Ajegule. Those are the two kinds of people we have. So Nigerian government will not, if you want to compete with Europe and the rest of the world, think like them. What is best for my country? How many people today want to buy a flat and have the cash to do so? There are few people who can do it, and they keep on buying as many flats as possible. There is this us and them attitude. And once you have access to government, you become us. And if you have no access to government, you become them. We need to fundamentally change our mindset. There has to be a paradigm shift. That's the point I'm saying. Let us not start talking about things that are peripheral. The issue is fundamental.
Sounds like a job for the orientation agency. We hardly hear of them these days.
Well, I think the orientation agency must start from the president of the country. He must put in place that if you touch government money, you'll be punished, and everybody will know about that. That will be an example to everybody. That's where it comes from. Not to set up another organization called orientation for people to change. People cannot change if government is not showing and leading the way. You said to the people, I want to be voted for. I can change Nigeria. I can make Nigeria better. You get there, you come and set up an agency on one side that you will not even fund, and then you say, let them go and do it and hold them responsible. No, responsibility must come from the top. There must be orientation at the presidential level. There must be orientation at the legislative level. There must be orientation at even the judiciary. So they need to understand that Nigeria's economy is Nigeria's future. Our problem in Nigeria is not politics. It is economy. The poverty of our people is a way that it orientates their minds and how's their own attitude to government. We need to now change an economy, make the economy is the people's economy. They see themselves. When they invest, they know that there's a level playing ground for everybody. Not that those who are in government have a different situation. Let me tell you, what is the salary of the average legislator in Nigeria? What's the salary of the average worker in Nigeria? They all buy from the same market. There's no market that's designed for the legislators. Has anything been done about it? The psyche of the people is that these people are there to grab as much as they can. And they will not listen to them until they prove to us that they are here for the sake of Nigeria, for Nigeria's future. Unless we do that, let us stop talking about all this one that you put a group of people together to come and reorientate. How can you come and tell me that it's all right for somebody to get 20 million naira a month and for me to get 200,000 naira a month? And we go to the same market, we're the same country, and we say Nigeria belongs to all of us. It doesn't.
Well, we have to make Nigeria belong to all of us because in the true sense, it belongs to all of us. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Emmanuel Ijewere, the Chief Executive Officer of Best Foods Global Limited. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Same to you. I will send the meat to you.
I'll be expecting.
Have a good day, my dear.
Thank you. You too. All right. Well, virtual meet, I'll be waiting for that. After the break, AFEX Commodities Markets is up next. But before then, what is a holiday without travels? At least we experienced it on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway yesterday, 2 days ago. A lot of Nigerians took to the road, the rail, air, and want to spend some time with their loved ones. We have that captured in this next report.
An unusual sight of a less busy Biode Motor Park located along roads connecting the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to other parts of Lagos metropolis. Most of the buses here are destined for states in the southwest, but the number of travelers is below expectation on a day preceding a major Muslim festival. The cost of transportation has almost doubled.
I think generally people are having to cancel some of their plans due to the increase in transportation fare because, you know, generally during Salah, it is an expected, people always expect that there will be increase on transportation fare, but then due to the fact that there was increase in PMS price some weeks ago, now it has really gone up beyond what people are expecting. Now, to travel from Lagos to Ogumosho Ilorin is 12,000 naira.
The rate of the fuel is 500 naira per liter, and we say, you know, the driver will buy the fuel at, let's say, 20,000 naira to fill the tank, and they cannot be able to take it as in the way they are doing before, and they have to raise their own money. As of now, we're taking Ibadan 4-1, and then the card exists one for them to couple their money back to gain their money.
Patronage at the Owena Park is also discouraging, as at midday, most vehicles are still empty, waiting for passengers. Ticketers and loaders sit idly. The situation is not different at the Jibowu bus terminal. Despite the risk, some travelers resort to joining buses along the expressway, hoping to pay less of what is obtainable in recognized parks. Even at that, the price is considered high.
It's only 3,000. It's not too much because of the price. Because there is no money around this country again. It's 3,000.
At the Murtala Muhammed International Airport, air traffic seems to be moderate. Being the fastest and one of the safest means of transportation, air travel remains the option for many despite the cost.
The airfare actually is quite expensive. It's not everybody that can afford to travel by air. If the federal government can come in so that they can bring down the air ticket to be low for the masses, I think it could have been better.
So I think the cost has been consistent with what we've seen over the last 3-4 months. It's been in that range of anywhere from 40 to 60,000. So the prices fortunately haven't spiked up as they usually will we expect during the holidays.
Many will be missing out on the fun of traveling during holidays and reuniting with their families because of the current economic realities. Hence, a low-key Eid al-Kabir celebration is expected.
Whether we travel or not, we will celebrate the holidays and celebrate virtually with our families. We can see them physically. It's all parts of the fun and the realities of today. But now let's do AFEX, and we can see that in the last trading week, which ended on June the 26th, we saw mixed performance across key indicators. Turnover rose by 61.50%, closing the week at 5.74 billion naira from 3.56 billion naira in the last week. Number of deals traded rose as well by 64.26%. Number of deals traded rose by 89.47%, closing at 180. We witnessed a rise in the AFEX Commodities Index as it rose by 0.14%. However, there was a decline in the AFEX Export Index as it dropped by 0.02%, falling to 228.64 from 228.69 in the last trading week. The volume of contracts traded, we saw increased volume across maize, and looking at the prices now, price across export commodities, we look at sesame, sorghum, ginger, wheat. These crops maintained their prices. You can see ginger there unchanged, 986 naira, maize 273 naira, and soybeans there 334 naira 79 kobo. Now looking at others, we see paddy rice was down 0.40%, at 335 naira 94 kobo, and cocoa also was down 0.12% to close at 1,885 naira 61 kobo. Also, we see there that cocoa 612 naira 26 kobo, and that's a major of the grain commodities on AFEX there. But now we have another conversation, and we have joining us for that conversation. Do remember, you can always get more on AFEX if you go to their website. I'm sure Taiwo Williams, who's joining us from our Abuja studio, will give us that. That's the address. You can join AFEX to get more information. Now, let's talk about data. We know that in today's interconnected world, access to timely and accurate data is crucial to everyone, including farmers, traders, investors. It helps to make informed decisions. Market participants rely on analysis and interpretation of market data to make trading decisions. And data enables live monitoring of market trends and competitor price decisions, analyzing historical data and staying up to date with the latest information on crop yields and supply-demand movement. Investing in data has become very crucial to making agriculture more accessible. This is what Taiwo Williams joins us to discuss. Taiwo, good morning and happy holiday to you.
Hello, Ini. Happy holidays. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. So now we've seen the importance of data. It cannot be overestimated. But give us some specific scenarios when it comes to data and agricultural commodities market and how it, affects decision making.
Yes, you're very right. Access to data and information, well, accurate and adequate data and information demystifies the agricultural commodities space. Now, we have seen that it creates an avenue for intelligent and insightful information for every member, every participant across the value chain. For one, it helps them to make better decisions on pricing, and better decisions on volumes, on how to value their commodities, and also how to manage risk and supply chain. Going forward, it also helps them to be able to identify opportunities in the market when it comes to dealing with investors. And from the investor perspective as well, it helps manage, it helps with management of inventory, and it also helps with their management of their pricing and their, interacting with platforms such as AFEX, which provides these commodities for them with price discovery and factors such as that. Thank you.
Obviously, the AFEX deals in data and sharing data among all of these relative stakeholders. But how do traders and investors use this to make informed decisions in the agricultural commodities market?
Okay, so from both sides of the value chain, we've seen that there is an importance of accurate data. It helps them to understand the market fundamentals, which is the supply and the demand dynamics. It also helps them to monitor price trends. So from the production aspect, it also helps them to understand the production levels, inventory management, and it also helps them to understand weather conditions. And these are three key factors that influence the quality and the quantity of output in the agricultural commodities space. Also, vitally, it helps to de-risk the commodities market. One thing that we have seen is that an issue with agricultural commodities is the risk involved in investment. So access to this data, this real-time data, helps them to understand the risks involved, but also to track the conversation going forward. So these are some of the key ways that traders, investors alike can also manage data and information and going forward.
But how available is real-time data really in the sector?
Well, it depends on where you find it. AFEX really tries to make this real-time data available to every single participant across the value chain. Let's take, for example, if you didn't have up-to-the-minute data as a trader, you would have to, as a farmer, go to the market, make your own survey, probably make decisions that are one-sided. And we understand that some of these decisions don't take into context the most recent market events. And even from the side of the investors, you would need to be able to have your options with you, right? To make decisions when it comes to agricultural commodities, you need to be able to access multiple selling points and also multiple commodities. Now, this enables investors to be able to make a richer and more holistic decision. And how these are made available, we'll probably discuss that going forward. AFEX has different platforms on which we report data directly from the users, from those involved in the production angle to the final consumers of this data and information.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you exactly how AFEX or some of the initiatives available through AFEX to make this real-time data available to both the traders, the farmers, investors, and all of that.
Okay, so all of AFEX's systems are fed data directly from user activity. From the production side, the farmers and their activities are captured by our outreach officials. These agents are spread across the nations and even to each community where AFEX has farmers represented. And also in the warehouses, for the warehouse activities, the warehouse managers represent this information, and both this information is reported on our platforms in-house, analyzed and processed and released as information to the public. And also for trading activities. So the trading activities are captured on AFEX's commodities exchange trading platforms. And we have seen that from these trading activities, prices, volumes, and values, turnovers of these daily transactions are recorded, and they are interpreted and released to the public. So some of the other platforms that we use, as you mentioned earlier, africaexchange.com, our websites where we release daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly reports on price, on volume, and on turnover of our commodities traded within the exchange. We also try to release some of these reports on our proprietary trading application, ComX, and we also send these reports as newsletters to every registered user. We also try to release regular periodic reports, most notably our crop production survey, which we release once a year, that gives information on historicals, on actuals, and on forecasts for crop production within this space. Additionally, we do social media. We release some of these reports on our Instagram handles, on Twitter Spaces. We have Zoom sessions and also platforms like this where you, Ini, have graciously invited us to speak on some of these issues.
Yeah, thank you for taking up the invitation. We appreciate it. Taiwo Williams, Associate Corporate Partnerships with AFEX. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
You too. Thank you very much.
Let's take a breather. In the midst of that, we'll tell you what World Bank is saying about the removal of petrol subsidy in Nigeria.
Effort on the part of the central bank.
It's that time again when representatives of development finance institutions, government officials, and economists converge to assess the nation's economy. The event, tagged the Nigeria's Development Update, throws a searchlight on the economy and policy recommendations for job creation, poverty reduction, and economic growth over a 6-month period. This time, the World Bank's attention is specifically on the petroleum subsidy removal and the exchange rate unification.
In the last month, what we've seen are really, from our perspective, the beginnings of that move through these bold decisions that have been taken. I know they've been controversial, but the way I would put it, I like to use metaphors. It's a bit like when you have, internal hemorrhaging. And it's getting to the point where the patient is in critical condition, you have to do emergency surgery. It may be painful, it will come as a shock, but that emergency surgery is needed and it takes courage.
This is then followed by an analysis of how the recent policies of the government will impact Nigerians.
Inflation will increase this year, but then as of next year, we'll see inflation beginning to decrease as a result of the impact of this, meaning less recourse to central bank finance, slower growth of the money supply, better growth dynamics.
Done with the speeches, the conversations continue in a plenary discussion. While members of the private sector seek a well-regulated exchange rate regime that will favor investors, government officials speak on plans to ameliorate the sufferings experienced by Nigerians as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy.
What we are looking for is price stability. What we are looking for is an ability for investors to bring in their money and have a fair view as to what it's going to take for them to make a return in dollar terms, and remit their money.
We are all sure
that with the right measures will be a temporary spike in inflation. And that involves using the World Bank's financial muscle to have a loan from the World Bank, which will be used as direct cash transfers for the poorest. That has long been mooted, and it's a policy decision or a policy recommendation that has pretty much been accepted.
These are definitely interesting times in the nation's economy, and the consensus here is that buffers be created to cushion the impact of the recent policies on Nigerians.
Well, from World Bank there, inflation will get higher before it starts tapering. So let's not fear, it's all captured in the plan. Hopefully. Well, let's have Anete join us now to tell us what's up in the market. Anete, good morning.
Good morning, Ini.
Yeah,
I would ask you a question first. Are you investing in the stock market? So do you have any investment in the stock market?
We'll think about that, and then we'll send a reply to Anete via mail.
Okay, but if you haven't, you're missing out, because it has gone to about
60. I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, 17-year high, and just in one day, another. It looks like the month.
But this is too late. It's too late to jump on now. I think when profit taking starts, that will be a good time for investors to get on. Investors that are not there already. Because if it's already high, I mean, getting there, you're going to buy stocks at very high prices. So you have to wait for it to drop, at least taper a bit, then you can jump on the bandwagon and try.
Well, at the same time, you need to, there can be a very good time to enter, because at some point when you enter, the market might go higher, and maybe also decide to do the waiting game, you just might lose out of it. Well, I'll give you more details about that market, but first we go with the fixed income market. So, we were talking about the equities market, but first we're looking at the fixed income market. For the fixed income market, the Treasury bills market, it was quiet. Yesterday, we were anticipating that today there will be a primary market auction, but our analysts will be talking to us about that, since today is a public holiday for the financial market, today and tomorrow. But for yesterday, we saw the 14th of March 2024 paper of the Treasury bills market taking the much concentration there, 30 number of deals carried out at 30 billion naira. Total value there was 71.31 billion naira, all in 44 deals. Over to the bonds market, which had it turned around this side to the bullish side, and that's because investors had the average yield had contracted by 54 basis points to 13.2%. But take a look at your board there. 21st of June 2053 paper had the highest number of deals carried out there. But in terms of the value, the 26th of April 2029 paper had the number of highest number of value there, and then that's translated to 30.86 billion naira. Over to the open market operations of the market, it was total number of deals there, which was largely contributed by the 26th of December 2023 paper, had 4 deals at 12 billion naira. Now for the central bank special bills, we also saw some activity there, not too much, but at the same time, it was a contributor to that market. For the money market, we also saw a reprieve for the naira. The naira, it gained on the back of some investors flying into that market. But let's get more insight from our analyst, Senator Audu's fixed income dealer at Access Bank, to tell us more about this market. Thank you for joining us, Senator.
Thank you, Anete. Thanks for having me.
And I would also say happy holidays, even though you're on holiday and I'm not at holiday. Now, first, there's been a bond issuance calendar for the third quarter. Second quarter is already ending by the end of this week. And at the same time, we also saw that so many activities within this market, but it looks as if investors in the fixed income market are moving from that market space into the equities market space. Can you tell us more about this, as well as the bond calendar for next quarter?
Okay, so there's a bond calendar that has been released for the third quarter of this year. There hasn't been a change in that calendar from the last auction. The same 4 bonds are being offered at the auction: the 2029s, the 2033s, the 2038s, as well as the 2053s. So we saw at the last auction, this bonds closed at 13.9, 14.7, 15.45 and 15.7% respectively. Although we have seen some interest shift to the equities market, we've seen significant interest in the bond market as well. There's been a serious rally in the market from last week. So I mentioned that the 29s closed at the auction at 13.9 rather. We saw those bonds trade down to 12% closing yesterday. For the 2053s that closed at 15.7, we saw a trade as low as 14.3% yesterday. The key driver of that has been the money market. So last week we saw a removal of the cap and floor. So previously market participants had a cap and floor around which markets could place and take from each other. So that cap was removed, and considering that the market has been very liquid, closing at about 900 billion yesterday, we saw rates in the money market drop. So we saw market participants move their demand to the fixed income market, which led to the drop in yields that we have seen in the bond and the treasury bills market. Okay, so now that takes me back to my final question for today, which has to be with the primary market auction, which was expected to be today. Investors had anticipated that, which is why the treasury bills market was quiet. So when are we to expect this primary market auction, given that Friday will be the last trading day for the week and for the month? Yes, so there was supposed to be an NTB auction to hold today. About 187 billion was said to be offered across the 91, 182 and 364-day deals. But the DMO came in yesterday to advise the market that the auction will hold on Friday. And rather than do the auction on one day and settle on a different day, the DMO has advised that the auction would hold on Friday and settle on Friday. And to give you an idea of where rates are, we saw at that previous auction, the 91-day closed at 4.84, the 182-day closed at 5.12, and 364-day closed at 8.24. At this auction, we expect rates to drop further, considering that the secondary market rates for these bills are considerably lower at the moment. So we're seeing the June bills trade at 6% levels, as well as 6.5. I mentioned that at the last auction, it was at 8.24. So we do expect a downward trend in that auction come Friday. Okay. So thank you so much, Senator. And although the market is on holiday, but our eyes remain on the market for the time being. So thank you. That was Senator Aldo, fixed income dealer at Access Bank, giving us details about the fixed income market. And before we wrap it up on this segment, let's move over to the central bank special bills. Like I mentioned earlier, it was the 31st of July, later next month. The paper had 10 deals, 22 billion naira worth, and the discount there, 2%, amounting to a total of 29 billion naira for that market space. So, Eni, I will be giving you more details about the equities market tomorrow, because today is a holiday shortened week, but we have more details to give in the other holiday that we have for the week.
All right, so we're looking forward to it, especially about the equities, because it was really exciting.
Very, very exciting.
Yesterday. But anyway, now let's go straight to our London studio. No, not London studio. I believe Juliana is working from home. Juliana, good morning. Happy holiday. Happy Maruk. I hope you have ram somewhere around you there, because I hear that's what is being used for this celebration. But I mean, we do have an investigation by BBC telling us that while we're always talking about cost of living being high and all of that, there are actually some people who are benefiting from it.
Absolutely. Good morning, Eni, and happy holidays to you, and happy holidays to the millions of viewers who are watching. You're absolutely right. This week, as we've already discussed, the cost of living crisis, even though it hasn't gone anywhere, it has become a hot topic of conversation in the UK. And it's something that the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, and Rishi Sunak are trying to get their hand on this week, because even though CPI has dipped to about 8.7%, inflation at supermarkets is really pushing already beleaguered Brits to the edge. And that really is the basis for the BBC investigation, which they've been reporting today. They have been looking at alternative methods for people to take out a credit. And I think anybody listening will probably have heard of the term loan shark. These are individuals that work without regulation, often targeting desperate families, offering them a certain amount of money, and they do whatever they can to make sure they get their money back. So that is a really serious issue, and because we know a lot of people feel pretty much ashamed about how much debt they have, particularly if you are working full time but your wages are not covering your bills, it is difficult for people to talk. And they have found that in this crisis, these loan sharks have been taking advantage of these individuals, and sometimes it can turn to quite significant consequences, including paying back interest rates on loans up to 200%. Some individuals even end up in hospital, and it's really targeting and having a detrimental effect on people's mental health. So I think the findings from this BBC report come at a really crucial time, because we know this morning the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt is meeting with regulators in the UK, including the Competition and Markets Authority, to make sure that they are piling the pressure on retailers and corporates in this country to make sure that any savings they are receiving at the highest level, including wholesale, will finally be trickled down to consumers.
All right, and now we hear Labour is planning to halt oil and gas development.
Well, yes, this is an announcement that was actually made last week by the opposition leader of the House of Commons, Sir Keir Starmer. He, of course, is seen as the Prime Minister in waiting. And while he's been pretty quiet, I would say, it was very difficult for him to go toe-to-toe with Boris Johnson, who's used to all the fanfare. He's really risen to prominence during Rishi Sunak's premiere, and he has been going around the country laying out his manifesto. And one of the announcements that was made last week in Scotland is that if he does become Prime Minister, he would halt the renewal of any oil and gas exploration licenses in the North Sea. Now, a lot of people didn't know what to make of that at the time, but now that producers and businesses up in Scotland have, scratched beneath the surface of what he said, they are worried, and they want to exactly know how the Labour Party are going to do this. They're already worried about the windfall tax and how that has diverted what should have been investment coming into the north of the country, going across Europe. So yes, there's no new announcement from the Labour Party, but I think now that it seems that a general election is ever closer, a lot of people are just having a stronger look at some of the statements that Sir Keir Starmer has been making.
All right, Juliana, thank you so much for those details. We'll talk to you at 1:30.
Talk to you then.
Let's move over to the crypto space now. They don't go on holiday. They don't sleep.
No holidays.
No sleep.
No breaks.
No break.
Yeah.
And God never sleeps, no slumber.
I know, right? But this market right here keeps on going regardless of what happens. Okay. And we see the complexion of the market right now. It's a red color we're seeing in the market. Yeah, just the greens. We see the stable coins there. USDT, USDC. That's all that's in the green. Now let's look at the top cryptocurrencies we track in the market. And the sentiment, 62 points. Greed is what we're seeing right now in the market, showing that investors are still quite bullish in the market. Let's bring in Solomon Amunde now, financial market analyst. Hello, Solomon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning, Ladi.
Fantastic. Great to have you, Solomon. So we're seeing some news in the market right now. Nevada regulator in the U.S. Is accusing a crypto firm called Prime Trust of owing customers about $85 million in fiat alone. And that name has trust in it, but I don't think we can trust that platform with the way it's looking.
Yeah, it's a crazy one out there. That's one of the major reasons why we advise customers in the crypto space to try as much as possible to practice self-custody. That's the whole idea of crypto and blockchain. But in the case where most persons don't want to practice self-custody, we have some platforms that can help. The issue now is finding the right platform that wouldn't actually do away with your funds. So in the case of Prime Trust, it's actually quite sad. Currently, FID says they're massively underwater because they are owing customers over $85 million. And sadly, what they were doing is this is fiat actually, but in the crypto, their balance sheet in crypto is almost equal, and because they have a balance sheet of about it is $68.6 million, whereas crypto assets by users are actually around $69.5 million. So it's just a difference of around $1 million. So their balance sheet for crypto is quite fair, but for the fiat, it's actually underwater, and that's quite sad because what they were doing behind the scene, the reports we have is that they were making use of clients' fiat to actually buy crypto to enable withdrawal by users that want to actually withdraw their crypto. So that's why they have a very negative balance on the fiat side.
Anyway, it's a developing story.
But we are still watching to see how this will be resolved.
Yeah, it's a developing story. We'll keep tracking and see how Prime Trust reacts to all of this. But going into July now, what altcoins are you seeing that might take the shine in July?
Yeah, okay, so looking at July, I'm actually massively looking at Layer AI, which is one of the AI projects that are actually building the blockchain majorly for AI activities and to help you monetize your data on the blockchain. So I'm actually looking at that. They've broken out of the downtrend, and right now they are going up. So I'm looking at Layer AI to see how they perform in the month of July.
All right, Solomon, we'll be watching out just in a few days. We'll be right there in July. Thank you so much, Solomon Amunde, financial market analyst.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's flip over now. See the top gainer now, XLM. That's the one that usually used to follow XRP back in the days. I don't know if there's a decoupling with that right now. 12.85%. Had some partnership with a company, a freelance company right there. So we're seeing traders react positively to that. VeChain is also on the top gainers counter, up 6.07%. So the market is still quite greedy right now, Inni. And yeah, there's still artificial intelligence at this point, even in the crypto space.
Yeah,
everyone's looking at those AI projects at this point.
So I want to leave you with the question to ponder on.
Right.
Can AI do your job?
That's if I give AI the permission to take my job.
All right, Laddie, thanks. See you at 1:30. So that's it on the program. Thank you so much for allowing us to come into your homes this holiday. We'll do it again tomorrow. I hope you will appreciate it. We'll be back here at 10 a.m., God's grace. But Laddie will be back here at 1:30 p.m. today to give you an update from the world of business. You can watch this program anytime you want. It's on our YouTube channel, on Channels Television. It's always fresh. I'm Inni Jod Mekwa. Have fun. We'll be here working with you.